Okay.
What was that? What was that?
I guess
Your retrograde is over, so you like
retrograde is finally over, so I'm not about to die.
So you was just like, yes, I'm very excited, and I want to express this on the thumbnail right now. So I get it, I understand.
Yes.
So today we are here on Yatta Debates, episode 22. 22 episodes. That is
22 is the spirit number.
Is it? I don't know all about that. But I remember you was actually telling me that Kiana, shout out to Kiana, we tagged you in the video, that she actually brought this topic to your attention. And full disclosure, guys, I did not get a chance to do my prep work on this specific state, so I'm kind of going to be rolling with the punches here.
We kind of both are, because this is really going to be like an opinion based, no facts type of debate today.
Because you posted this up and I spoke my piece on it, and I told you I was going to go into depth on this.
It's going to be a very opinion based debate today. So there will probably be, if any facts that y'all want to drop about this, or y'all know, just drop it down in the comments. Hey, Francisco. Hey, Papa. Everybody. Oh, so y'all just gonna leave after I say hi? Like, that's how y'all feel? Anyway.
All right. So boom, colorism. All right. But yeah, on a serious note, colorism. Let's go. Let's delve into this.
So.
And Kiana, I want you in here. I tagged you, I want you in here.
I don't know where she's at. She could be asleep. This is her usual sleep time.
Wake her ass up. So, but again, colorism.
So colorism, the definition to me, I don't know if this is the Webster definition of it. It's just basically like, defining certain groups, excluding certain groups of people based on the color or hue of their skin, like if they're lighter or darker. Like colorism is not exclusive to the United States. Like, I think it's like a global thing. They have different names for different groups of people who are darker and lighter in every area that you go into. So, again, don't quote me. I did just a pinch of research on it, but I couldn't really get into it because, I had a rough week. So like my mirror is gone.
With that, like, but let me ask you this, like, in breaking down. So, like, when we say like colorism as opposed to racism, like, what are we seeing? Like,
racism is like, I feel like racism targets a specific race of people. So like, when you're a racist, you don't like a specific race of people. So if I am a racist and I don't like Indian people, that makes me racist against the race of Indian people. But if I'm a colorist, I don't like dark-skinned people. I don't like.
So it's not attributed to
like a specific group and a specific demographic. It's just like basically like if you're a certain color or if you're too dark or too light, a person might not find you as appealing. You might not get certain job offers. If you're into modeling, acting things, you might get passed on certain jobs and things like that. Again, this is not all facts. This is just opinion based. I'm just saying it.
That kind of sounds, in a sense, that sounds worse than racism. In a sense, when you think about it, because like you can say like, all right, I don't like.
But back in the day, like Black people used to like, if you were really, really light skinned, they used to pass. They used to do what was called passing, and they used to like pass as white people. Like they used to like, if they were light enough and their hair was like good enough, they would pass as white people.
And I mean, of course, we're talking about like going like back to slavery times. Then the fairer skinned ones with the quote unquote house. I'm not gonna say the word house in words.
And it was like they had a paper bag test to determine how dark or light you were, depending on how much work or labor you did. If you were a woman, if you were darker, you were out in the field with the men. But if you were lighter or like even my complexion, you were in the house and you would be used as maybe a concubine, maybe like
now. Do you think
like that?
Do you think this is like a global thing, like universal?
Oh no, it's definitely global because, like I said, again, there are different countries that are colorist against certain groups of people. Like we can take Australia, which is a first world country and continent, and they are very colorist especially when it comes to the indigenous people there. The Aboriginal people, they treat them really badly. They don't even call them Black people, they call them Aboriginals. And like that's like kind of like a slang. How are you going to call somebody who was there before you like a name and treat them poorly and give them less rights, and you're the ones invading their space? So they do that with that, like, and that's in anywhere, like they have favoritism in like Hispanic communities and in certain West Indian communities. Certain parents do tell people like, don't go if you're dark, don't date another dark person. You don't want to have dark children. Like, get you a lighter man, get you a Spanish man, get you something lighter to.
And I mean, like, we see this, like, I want to say, like, this is like universally conditioned, but it's to the point where we start seeing that lighter or fair or being a fair complexion is seen as like less threatening, and then on the spectrum where it's darker, it's seen as like more threatening, and that's just like some kind of like
there's a meme that I seen about that with Peter Griffin
that.
from Family Guy. Like, Family Guy touches on every topic, and he like had the police pull him over, and the policeman had like this little flip book, and it was like, lock him up, give him a warning, and it was like all the different hues. So it's like, like colorism plays a lot, and like, and even now in everyday roles, look at ads that they roll out. Like, if they're not like white people, they're mixed people. They don't ever roll out ads like. That's why I support Issa Rae and all the people who were in Black Panther, all the actors. I can't name all of them because I don't remember all of their names, but they do movies that are inclusive, especially Jordan Peele. Like, they do movies that are inclusive with people of darker tones. Like, they just recently are going to release or have released, I'm not really 100% sure, a Black love story where both of the main characters are dark-skinned Black people. There's not one light-skinned person, one dark-skinned person. Like, they're both dark-skinned Black people in love in a movie. Well, and they're not slaves.
Well, let me ask you this, and because what I see is just like the message that's being portrayed. It's just like I want to say, like, more so in the past, it's just like what we were being presented with.
Kenny.
What's going on, Kenny? That Black people being portrayed as a certain way, and because America is basically like the world's television screen. It's just like when other countries see this and they don't really have any real interactions with Black people, this is how they believe that we are portrayed, and this is how
I can tell you as a child of someone whose parents are not from America and looking in as their parents look at Black American people, like, you got to understand, people are racist against Black people, but they are racist extremely against Black American people. Like, Black American people they're probably listed as enemy number one worldwide. Like, not even just like if you come from another country, even African people will tell you this. They'll be like, you can date anybody you want. Do not date a Black American. They are this, that, and they portray the same stereotypes that have been regurgitated throughout the years since the beginning of when they did the Jim Crow laws. Like, we lazy, we this, we that, and thing. And I can say this as both a parent, a child of an immigrant, and as a first generation American. Like, it's like, yo, y'all really like
catch a lot of slack.
Y'all catch so much shit for no reason.
And this goes back even to like the first debate that I did with Ahmed when we was like really breaking down like that barrier. He said it's just like it's just a clear cut difference here than like as opposed to like in the rest of the world. And he's like, you still go to other countries like certain parts of Britain, certain parts of France and Russia. Like, yeah, they are still like they still have like that. I don't want to say it's more so like they're racist against like specifically like Black people, but they're saying that's like that white people are just better than everyone. Like we have this pride that not that we think this one group.
But when you get out of America, they are just more like, if you're from whatever country you're from, that's how they treat you. Like, if you are an African citizen or from whatever country you're from, and say whatever, you go to another country, they're gonna treat you however. But if you come from America and you are Black, they are going to treat you like you are less than.
I can see now from my personal experience. I will say that I can't necessarily completely attest to that because I can say like when I went to the Dominican Republic, like I was treated like excellent. Like,
you were on a resort.
I know.
You didn't go into the actual Dominican Republic. They do not like Black people in the Dominican Republic. That is one of the countries that even Black-born Dominican people get deported to Haiti because they're Black.
But again,
you're really going to use the Dominican Republic as the most colorist country
this is what I'm gonna say
in the world. You're going to use them as an example.
But even still, and this is why I say like from like going out into the town.
Oh my God!
What I'll say is that I won't say.
Yeah, because you're a paying customer.
But hold on. Even going off into the city, right? it's just like I've seen like more Dominicans there that do really embrace like the black side and the African side of them. Like it's down to like their patterns and their music and their dance. It's like there is like a percentage of them that do really embrace it. Now, and I'm not going to speak for any, but I do see like certain ones, especially up here, that kind of like, oh, I'm not black, I'm Dominican. But down there, I do see some.
I mean, you have those select few people who are proud of their African lineage. That goes with any country.
Yeah.
That has African in them. Look at Panamanian people.
Yeah.
You would meet a Panamanian person, and they would look just like me, or even darker than me, but they'd come out speaking fluent Spanish to you.
Yeah.
You go there. Brazilian people, like
I mean, it was the same thing from them. The only thing that separated from us from them was just the fluency in Spanish.
That's it. Really.
Like if he was came to New York, his name would be Tyrone. Right? like that would just be like.
So that's just how I look at it. I feel like colorism is, I don't know. It just this is really like an opinion based topic to me because again, like colorism really, it depends on where you are, because white people can't be colorist to each other. That how they are colorist to each other, they be like, they don't like redheaded people.
Yeah.
That's their way of being it. They like blonde hair people with blue eyes.
The thing is,
red hair people are the devil. And that is that. I'm being Bill for real.
It's like when you boil it down to POCs, it's like we come in like way more variations. Like it's like light skin.
So we
think
we come in variation. But if you go ask a white person right now, the difference between me and you right now, even in color, they're gonna be like, I don't see a difference. Y'all the same. We all human. But they trying to do that.
But in a sense, I mean, but we do it too. In a sense, like we try to like reinforce that no matter what shade of brown we are, that we still are.
Yeah, but brown, people. We're not black. I haven't seen a black person.
Well, see, and see, this is what boils down. This is just like that kind of like connotation.
I don't identify as black either. When I fill out applications, I'm gonna let y'all know this now. I don't identify as black. I put white on the applications all the time. I'm just letting y'all know this now.
But I say that's just the way of like America doing like a statistical group. Because when you say Asian, look at the continent of Asia, right? Look at all the countries that are listed under Asia. So when you say I'm Asian, what is that? Are you from Singapore? Are you from China? Are you from Tokyo? Japan? Are you from Korea? Are you from India? Are you from Mongolia? Like, so like to really branch this down and say
the Philippines, any of the islands.
So to break this down and say I'm Asian. It's like to say like I'm black. Like what is black? It's like, are you like a Black American? Or are you African? Or are you from Jamaica? Even parts of the Dominican Republic. Like if my skin is, and I remember a guy, and this is what I was saying, he got in trouble at work because on his application he listed that he was black or of African descent because he was from Egypt. And he didn't get the job because they thought he was being a smartass. And he was like, but I'm from Egypt. Of African descent.
Oh, that's another argument itself, because there are certain people from Egypt who don't believe they are black. They identify as I forget what it is, but they don't identify as black. A lot of them don't.
And I mean Egypt, like I read like a whole book on that. That is a long time coming, and that's a debate for another day. But,
I wasn't even gonna get into that. You see, I ain't even started because I was like, because it's not even Egypt. I already argue against Egyptology. Like, I don't even think that is a thing. That shouldn't even be a thing. The only reason why they even went into Egypt to go look for the mummies and found all the mummies because they was tomb raiding and robbing the tombs and eating the mummies. And if y'all want to keep it real, that's a fact. And y'all can look that up. That's a fact.
So let me ask you, like, as far as colorism within, like,
our community?
I won't even say in just specifically in our community, but with even in the same communities, like.
There's colorism in every community. There's colorism. Like I said, there are certain people whose grandparents will tell them straight out to their face, like, do not marry a dark-skinned person. Do not bring a black person into my house because I don't want no dark-skinned grandchildren, whatever.
You got Hollywood white folks that are like, ew, you're so pale. You should go get a tan. So,
none of this makes sense.
So where does that come in? Like, what is this play? Because it's just like,
I guess it goes back down to like again the Jim Crow days.
But it's such a twisted world. It's just like you got people that like want to lighten their skin because they want to be lighter. You got people that want to tan and darker their skin, and it's just like,
this
what's going on here? Like, I'm just
everybody wants to be black without being black. I just don't get it. Like, they want to be black without the consequence of being black. They want the fun part of being black without the consequence of being black. Like, they want the lips, they want the butt, they want the, whatever else we have. I done seen some white people sporting afros. They want, or dreads or whatever. They want to be black without actually having to suffer the consequence of being black.
So we basically saying we just make things cool.
Being black to certain people isn't aesthetic. Like, there was a whole campaign a couple months ago in the summertime where they had outed Instagram models for pretending to be black. These were white teenage girls that would get darker makeup, put it on, and pretend to be black. And they were like, "Oh, we're not pretending to be black. I just like being tan." And and then you're sitting there with bamboo earrings on, portraying the stereotype of being a black woman when it's already hard enough to be a black woman in America. We have enough to deal with, enough things to deal with. Then there's people who are imitating us. That as soon as it's time to be a black woman and stand up for black women's rights, these people go silent.
Yeah. So in a reference of what we experienced today, right? So with this whole, let's say within our community of like, oh, that's some light skinned nigga shit. So so I want to clear the table and say like, okay, like where did these things kind of come from? Because this
that comes from us. That's just us.
So but like where do we like? I guess because I guess they were saying like back in the day, I guess the light skinned guys was like the pretty boys or whatever. Like you look at like.
But when you look at light skinned people like in general, like all right,
she about to throw shots at me, dog.
I'm not
about to throw shots at me.
Nobody, because at the end of the day, in the wintertime I get light too, and when I was a little kid growing up I was light, and then I darkened up a little bit, and like now I'm just like in this weird, like I'm in the brown category, brown skin. Like, because I'm not neither dark skin nor light skin. Like, I always considered myself dark skin after I got a tan. Like, I always just been like, I'm dark skin. Everybody be like, no you're not, and I'd be like, okay. So that's just that. But light skinned people have always been favored more after the Jim Crow laws, because they were able to get more like jobs. Like, they were more what society would say would be more appealing in a sense, especially like I see men and women, like they were able to water their image down so that if it came down to it, you could pass them off like, oh yeah, this is this is my less threatening black friend Yatta here. And then if you have someone,
if I come around to the Christmas dinner, it's all
darkest, like as Wesley Snipes, they'd be like, yeah, how's your purses, guys? Put everything away, put everything up.
And I mean, I can't tell, like a guy told me about this like a couple years ago, right? He said that like if a black guy, when he was in New York, he said if a black guy with a hoodie on came up to me, I would be scared. And I'm just like, but again, boy, that I'm like, well, if a white guy came up to you with his hoodie on, would you have that same reaction? And it's just like, no. And it's just like, again, you just see.
I'd be scared if anybody comes to me with their hoodie. You get tased, period.
And like, and going back to like, because this whole kind of like manipulation is nothing new, and it still goes on today within our media when we see anything happen with any kind of terrorist act or anything that involves like a POC.
In general, in the media that they portray with any, oh my gosh, I'm about to sneeze.
On Yatta Debates. Bless you. So
any subcontext, candles. Any subcontext that they use with, look at how they describe anything that regards like black people, and then look at how they regards white people.
Look how they do
Asian people. Look how they regard terrorism.
Anyone who practiced the faith of the Islamic faith.
Yes.
Yeah, like anything.
They made Muslim people live in fear for it's gonna be almost like 10 years.
Actually, because like 2001, almost 20 years.
Almost 20 years. They let these people live in fear. Like, before, nobody really paid attention to Muslim people like that. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, one group of people just decided they wanted to do whatever, even though George Bush did it. And we just gonna admit that right now. But they made it seem like these people, and then these people lived in fear. They didn't even want to practice their faith. People went out, threw pee on these people, and did all types of messed up stuff to these people. And it's like, that's like in itself, it's not even colorist. That's just hate against a group of people because the media told you to hate these people.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's what ends up happening. It's like once you start seeing the narrative over and over and over and over again, and you're seeing all these different outlets, so it's just like, well, if everybody's saying the same thing, it must be true.
No.
And I mean, even to the point where like even a young, at the young age that I was at myself, if I seen somebody in a turban, like because that message was being portrayed, and didn't have like the mental capacity to kind of differentiate to read between the bullshit, that I would get nervous. You know what I mean? Like I would get scared and just like, whoa, what's going on? And it's just like it's things like that we got to be more hip to. And this is why I said on my thing, it's only relevant as we allow it to make it. You know?
Yeah, because I always say racism and colorism and any type of like hate towards or just like a prejudice towards a group of people is taught.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that you just wake up or you're born and say, wow, I'm born, my kid is born and she hates all white people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's taught. It's something that you teach your kids. And you may not even do it like out. Some people do it outright or some people do it subconsciously. Like I worked in Marshalls for a little while, and one day, this is Indian lady, and she was in the store and her son just started talking to me. He just started like, he just said, hello, how are you? And I was like, oh, I'm good, thank you. Like, did you find everything okay? Like, you like this? You want me to scan this for you first? Like, just started a casual conversation with the young man. And then she just looked up from whatever she was doing. And she was like, why are you talking to her? And then just yoked her son up, moved him away, and like, was like, just did her transaction, did not have no interaction. Didn't even hand me the money, put the money on the counter. Like, it was like, her touching me would have been such a sin to her. Like, and
for everybody watching, we got to be more hip to that and be more mindful of when we doing these kind of things, because we got to look at like the narrative that we're spinning. Like, I won't say, like, let me ask you, do you think like the issue of colorism and racism is as bad as it was back then, or do you think it's kind of like?
I think it's the same. I just think that because we're more aware of it, that we're desensitized to it. Like, we're not being killed now because of it. Like, I mean, we still are. I'm not gonna lie, we still are, because they still shoot. The cops are still shooting and killing black people. Doesn't matter what color your skin is. Doesn't matter if you're light skinned, dark skinned, whatever. If you identify as black, they're killing you or taking your organs. Organ trafficking is real. So again, that even boils down to colorism. Like, again, like it a lot of times I've noticed, and I'm saying this is all just personal opinion. This is not facts. So please do not take this as like this is facts. But I'm friends with a very diverse group of people. Like I'm talking about, like my friends are very diverse. Like I have Spanish friends, I have white friends, I have friends of all different walks of life. And when I was coming up in high school, I hung out with mainly like lighter skinned girls. And so I would be like the brown skin friend or whatever, the dark skin friend, whatever.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times, like when we would go out, men would naturally gravitate towards my lighter friends. And I would just kind of be like in the background and just be like there. And if my friends would like curve them, then they would be like, oh, well, I'm like, I'm not your rebound. So like, that was just me, like, as my personal experience dealing with colorism, because, then that made me feel like, damn, like, is it because like I'm like a little darker, like I'm inadequate, like as a person? But me growing up and learning to love and embrace my color, my culture, learning who I am and stuff like that, it's different. And then having kids, it makes it different too, because I have 2 daughters who are black, full black, like they have no like mixture in them whatsoever. And and I have to teach them about their hair, their life before them, their ancestors and things like that. And so, I don't want them to get stuck in the, I'm light skinned, I'm dark skinned, this and that, all stuff like that. Like, I don't want them to get stuck in that. And then on top of that, my family is so diverse. Like, my nephews are half Hispanic. All of them, all 3 of them, they are black and Hispanic. And my one nephew, who is the oldest, he's about to be 2, he does not have any black in him. If you've seen this little boy, and you guys can go on my page and look, you'll see him on there from time to time, especially now December's coming up, you're going to see him more. He's very fair with big curls like this, big curly hair like this. And you would see my sister, and my sister is darker than me, and you'd be like, nah, that ain't her kid, that doesn't her kid. And it's like, yes, we can do that. Our wombs are so great to that point. But it's like I'm scared for him when he's growing up. Like I do think about stuff like that. Like when he's growing up and people approach him and ask him like, "What are you?" or he's Spanish, so they'll speak to him in Spanish, but then they'll probably disregard my sister because she looks black, and they'll automatically go to her son. And I don't want her to feel that way either, because I felt that working when I worked for a public government agency, which I will not name WIC. When I worked for them,
shout out to WIC.
I understand Spanish, and like I can speak it just like a little bit. Like I know like a couple phrases, words, like things like that. Like, but I understand it more than I can speak it. And, when Spanish people would see me, they would see me, and like say if my coworker sitting next to me was Hispanic, they would, even if I had nobody in front of me and my coworker had a line, they would sit and wait in that line for her. Like sit there and extend their time just so that they could talk to someone who was the same as them. And that's what I'm saying. Like they just assumed because I was darker. And then my friend who is Hispanic, who is she's actually your shade. She's Hispanic, full Hispanic. Like she's Puerto Rican, and she speaks fluent.
Puerto Rican.
She speaks fluent Spanish, and they would see her. She looks just like me and her would be talking to each other. They would see her, and again they would go to somebody else. But then she would be like, "No," she would say, "Puerto ayudar," and they'd be like, "Oh, habla español," and then they would start talking Spanish to her, and then it'd be a whole thing. But then it'd be like, because they just assumed she was black, they never really gave her the chance to even be like, "Oh, let's see if she can even speak Spanish."
Like, but that's why I was saying, like, that's why I said it's as relevant as we make it, because it's just like, all right, the narrative might be there, but we got to stop doing the things that perpetuate that narrative, even through the midst of like the media. It's like because we are hip to like the BS that the media portrays, we have to be more conscious of it and make sure that we aren't reinforcing those kind of like those stereotypes or those kind of colorist vibes.
It's kind of hard to not perpetuate stereotypes that are placed on you that are kind of on your everyday life. Like they take things from like our music and our art and say this is what they really do. Like, and it's really, some of it's not even true. Like I don't know anybody who really, I mean, never mind. But
like, wait a minute.
I had to think about that. But they try to perpetuate all these negative stereotypes. Where's the positive stereotypes about black people? Like, yeah, we could cook, but then in that same breath, they'd be like, oh, well, they can cook, but they be shooting up their damn neighborhoods. They can't enjoy Thanksgiving because they're going to shoot somebody on Thanksgiving or the 4th of July or whatever. We can't never come together. Have you ever noticed that black people can't never congregate as a group without somebody trying to intervene in some way, shape, or form?
Well, and this is what I was going to say, and this is something that I've been wanting to post, and I'm going to say this right now here on this live, and I want everybody to listen to this. I think when we talk about like colorism and like the unity between black folk, I think the one thing that we need to stop doing is stop disregarding each other based off like our religious beliefs and like basically things that are personal to us, and we have to stop letting those personal things stop us working in unison. Like, and this is what I'm gonna take as a prime example. As the woke community, we need to stop disregarding black people who follow the Christian faith or the Muslim faith or whatever faith that they choose to follow, because what ends up happening,
it's not even that.
But hold on. No, but hold on, because I've seen people in other groups and other cultures that practice different religions but can come together in unison and do business and prosper together. And I see that more so on our demographic. And I'm not going to say that they don't do it, but I see that this has afflicted us a lot, because even our communities that are in unison are still so high up divided, because I'm like leaning forward because I want everybody to pay attention. So it's just like we have like these sects of groups, but it still seems like we're divided in a sense, and it's just like
we're not divided. And the only thing that divides us is right now is religion and colorism. That's the only two things that divide us. And the only reason why religion divides us is because religion was forced onto us, and people believe it's better to have hope than to believe that there's nothing there. Like, all right, I'm a spiritualist, so I don't believe in any conformed religion. And I grew up Pentecostal. in a Pentecostal church. Like I said, my family has a Pentecostal church.
Mm-hmm.
I don't practice that. I got tattoos, I got a tongue ring, I got piercings. I had kids out of wedlock.
Right.
I would basically be what you would call a Jezebel. And, a lot of Christian people would frown on that for me. But in a sense, my own spirituality is my temple within. So I'm sacred to myself. So that's all that matters to me. Whereas, like I can embrace Christian people. I don't argue with people about their religion and things like that. That's one thing that I feel like when you talk to people or when you're getting to know group of people or doing business with groups of people, those are things you should take out: politics and religion, and y'all will blend just fine because there's other things that y'all have in common. Because as soon as you bring religion into this and like politics into this, then it turns into a whole different debacle that is just like something that now y'all can't walk from. Like I can't have a conversation with a full-blown Christian person about what I do. If I tell them I do tarot card readings and I sprinkle Florida water on people from time to time, and that I use hoodoo oils and things like that, they would look at me like I'm a full-blown witch.
And that's what I'm saying. And this is why I want like all of us to be accountable on this. And it's just that we need to kind of take that judgment out of our.
But y'all also can't be shamed, like as woke people. Y'all can't shame Christian people for believing what they believe in because that's what they're taught and that's their faith. Just like we have our faith in our literature and what we're learning and things like that. Because we weren't always woke. We were once asleep too. So we were awoke. We were enlightened and woken by something that sparked us to be like, yo, this is not right. Like I need to figure out my truth.
Yeah, so you got to find out what resonates.
Instead of being argumentative, why don't you try to educate them? That's why I always tell people, like, whenever I see both people arguing on Facebook, I'll be like, why are you arguing with them? Educate them. Send them the links to your facts that you have. This, that, and the third. And people always come to me like, oh, why are you always trying to be zen on here? Like, no, it's the truth. Because at the end of the day, instead of belittling people for not knowing something or belittling them for believing in whatever they believe in or they want to believe in, teach them about what you do. Teach them about the ancient African rituals that or teach them whatever, Teach them about, like, I dated a guy who was Muslim. I dated Christian men. I dated ancient men. So, it's been all around the board. So it's like,
So that's what I'm saying. And like the biggest thing is just agreeing to disagree and just moving forward and don't, like you said, the things that like involve politics and things that affect all of us.
Anything that is opinion based, I always say take that out of your discussion. Anything that is opinion based that you cannot back up with a solid fact, take it out your argument. Even if you can back it up with a solid fact, but you don't feel like arguing with it. All right, if you're gonna argue with a Christian person, then you're gonna be basically telling them like, look, dinosaurs aren't real because that means Jesus was around when dinosaurs was around. So you can't do that. You can't do that. Like you just keep your opinions to yourself. Whatever you believe in, you believe in. That's you. That's your belief system that keeps you rolling, going, and but let them believe in what they believe in. Because at the end of the day, that's like ruining Christmas for a little kid who believes in Santa and saying, yo, come here, little guy. Santa's not real. 12 days before Christmas. Now his mom gonna be looking at you like, you really gonna do that? Or telling some kid that they're adopted or something like that. And their parents ain't tell them. You can't do stuff like that. Just let them believe what they want to believe. They're going to come into that truth. People come into their own divinity at their own times when they need to be awakened. It's not your job to awaken everybody. You can awaken one soul at a time.
You know what is your job to? It's your job to be a good, decent, and respectful person, no matter to everybody.
And don't be colorist. Don't. You know what kills me and what. Like I used to get into a lot of arguments about, which also brings me to this topic of colorism. I used to get into a lot of arguments with Black men on my Facebook friends list, and I hope y'all see this.
She doing a whole head now. It's about to get serious.
I used to get into arguments with them about belittling Black women. Like they used to say, oh, the same things that they would belittle us for, they would praise other women for. All right. So say they'd be like, all right, we're too combative. We're too argumentative. They'd be like, I love me a crazy Spanish girl who come outside and slash my tires. But let my Black behind go outside and slash somebody's tires. Now I'm a crazy Black who whatever, and all that stuff like that. So, you can't.
I'm taking my whole elbow.
Sorry. You can't downplay one woman and then uplift a different group of women who have the same characteristics. Crazy is crazy, no matter what color you paint it. Like I said, I come from a very diverse group of friends. I done seen crazy from everything. I done seen people hop out of trunks on people. Okay, like so. It don't matter what color it is. Listen, when your man is cheating, I'm the hood cheaters for real. Like so, we have to really think about like a lot of things that we do and be mindful of that. Like especially downplaying our people, and that's one thing that I really do not stand for. Like y'all know I do not stand for that. If you're friends with me on social media, y'all know I do not play that about talking about Black women in any way, shape, or form. Like I don't care if you don't like Black women. If your preference isn't to date them, whatever, or if you don't prefer darker tone women, that's your preference. But don't sit up here and bash them, talk down on them, make them seem like they're less than worthy, because you don't know. There might be a woman out there who will read that who does not have the self-esteem or confidence like other women or myself who may not know that, yeah, I don't care what this dude say. He's just some random dude on Facebook. Yeah. And take that to her heart and really want to go out there and be like, you know what, I need to work some bleaching cream and be lighter. And now she's fucking up her skin because she wants to be appealing to these men who probably tweeting from their grandma basement off her Wi-Fi.
No, let me ask you this in the spectrum of like colorism, because this is something that I wanna kind of like say. It's just like when we're talking about that and moving groups forward, is this something that just ends up coming natural? Like we identify closer with these people. So let's say, let me ask you this, and I'm gonna just put an example for them. Let's say in the current world that we live in today, knowing what you know and conscious of everything that you do, let's say you are an employer and you have two people of equal qualifications, right? But one is Black and one is white. Be honest. Which one would you lean to? In knowing the way that American society works, and
you ask me? I'm
the as you the employer, equal qualifications. Let's say went to like similar schools, like similar grade schools. Similar grades.
What was their work history like? What was their
I'm saying everything is basically like similar. Like it's just like if it's any difference, it's maybe
I'm probably gonna go with the Black guy.
Exact.
But the only reason why I say that is because his opportunities are limited. So that's why I would go with him. I wouldn't go with him just because I'm Black, he Black. I would go with him because of the simple fact of I know that if I don't give him that job, his opportunities would be limited in a sense. If I was the employer, because I know if that white man goes and applies to somewhere else with his same qualifications, he would get hired on the spot.
Now let me ask you this. Same scenario, but the white guy has just 2 or 3 more years of work experience.
Then I'm hiring the white guy.
All right.
But that's just off of experience and like I look at the work history, background, stuff like that, everything like that.
Y'all just here to tell you I'm going Black both times. because like I have my own.
Yeah, my great grandma white. I can't do that.
I know, but I kind of have like again, like I said, understanding what's being portrayed. I probably have my own bias that would affect my decisions no matter what. And like it would have to be, and again because it would be from the stance where it's just like, damn, I'm in a position to put my own people up. Let me take this time to like really like take advantage of this. I'm just like, yeah, this white guy is good, but I could put this Black person in position. Boom.
Yeah, like
and that's what and basically like that's what we see. What goes on is like that these people that do own these companies and these employers, they really push people up of their own race, like, or even like in their own demographic. That's even
here in the state. Like you remember they had that whole thing where like now you can't hire your relatives. Before that, they used to be pushing.
Yeah, right.
They used to be pushing their cousins and aunts and uncles.
And you want a supervisor position? There you go.
You're in here now. Like, so you gotta think about it. Like that's just people in general. Like that's just like certain jobs. Even now, like even construction jobs, union jobs. You gotta know somebody who knows somebody, who cousin knows somebody, who uncle knows somebody to get into that. But like to boil down to colorism. I don't know. I always felt like growing up, like this, I don't know if y'all remember or if y'all might be, I don't know what our viewer audience is, but what the age range is, but I don't know if y'all remember like back when Twitter was in its early phases, like we used to have like teams and there used to be like team light skin, team dark skin.
Yes, I remember
and that pissed me off. I think that's why I deleted my Twitter. Well, actually, somebody told me to delete my Twitter. But that was one of the reasons why I deleted my Twitter. It was because like I had to really sit there and say, I have to pick a team of what I am, but I'm neither. So what do I do? Do I say I'm both? Do I say I'm neither? Do I make up a group? Do I say I'm Team Jamaican? Do I say I'm just team?
Running for the Olympics.
Do I have a bobsled team? Like, what do I do? So I was like, you know what? I am not gonna be a part of this. And then like whenever dudes argue with me, they always call me black ass. It's like that's the one thing. And they be like, you just come
I'm
up
sorry,
here.
that was it.
No,
but it was kind of funny.
But they just come here and be like, you just come in here angry. And I'd be like, I'm not even angry. I'm probably one of the happiest people. Like, even if I'm really like sad, like I'm probably one of the happiest people you probably meet. Like, I'm always laughing, always trying to, and like me, I work in a full environment of that. I'm the only person of color in my job environment. Like, so I'm kind of like the staple for our community at my job. Like when I first got there, they didn't even have hot sauce there. They just had mayonnaise.
So
do you know how
you representing the rest of us at your job?
Do you know how disappointing it is when you want to eat some chicken and you can't find some hot sauce?
I'm not even really off hot sauce like that. Like I like it, but it don't gotta be on
You crazy.
Perpetuating the stereotype. But
I'm just saying, hot sauce is good, period.
Yeah.
But I just feel like this whole colorist thing, like I really don't like it on Facebook. That's really it. That's just really my whole thing. I just don't like it when if y'all gonna say y'all don't like somebody, or if y'all want to say y'all want to date, whatever y'all want to date, do whatever y'all want to do, just please do not degrade black people or black women when you do that, because you have to think about it. If you're a black man, your mama is black, your auntie is black. So the same women you're putting down are the same women that you go and look in the face and be like, I love you, auntie, and I love you, cousin. And could you imagine some dude telling your cousin, hey, I don't like your black ass. I'm about to get me a beautiful snow queen and
snow queen.
Move to Pennsylvania, and we're gonna get a van.
You should start freestyling snow queen. But I mean, even boiling out, and I don't know if this was like, I'll say this is colorist, but it was like a division. I remember like growing up, like middle school and high school, it was like a real separation between like, nah, I'm Puerto Rican, I'm Dominican.
That's anger.
I ain't Mexican.
Even in jail, I'm sorry guys. I want y'all to know that part of my life. But even in jail, like they don't all congregate. It's not united in kumbaya in jail. Listen, you black people stay with the black people. The white people stay with the white people. The Spanish people stay with Spanish people, and the others either straggle on and go where they need to go, or they form their own groups, or they stay with their group. But everybody stays with their group that they know. Like, and if you try to go somewhere else, you're either going to get your ass beat back to your group, or you're going to be outcasted.
Well, that's a different element though. Like that's a hostile environment. You kind of like retain to nature.
When I was in high school, we were. I went to a diverse high school, but still, you stuck with who you stuck with.
Yeah.
And that was just that. Like, yes, you had your one or two, friends who may have acted black and white, but eventually, if it came down to it, they white. They black.
But I mean, I'm like, I'm gonna say this, like, on our part, it's more so like a conscious effort, because like I think no matter what will happen, like in a position where we're in a hostile environment, I think we will always revert to like animalistic instinct and kind of just stick with our own clan no matter what. Like,
because
I think
we understand each other better.
Yeah, and that's just
I don't understand
that's
a
just
lot
a
of
natural thing.
I don't. You know what? I never got like, I'm for all love, equal love, every love, but I never got people who got into interracial relationships with people who hated their race. Like, I never got that. Like, there was this girl who was on Twitter talking about her husband got mad at her because he wouldn't let her call her a Negro or a slave in the bedroom. And I was like, sis, how y'all even get that far?
It's like, it's time to skedaddle.
Like, how do you get with someone like that? Or and then, what's so funny to me, like, what I've noticed is that a lot of like former Klan leaders, or like people who secretly are in the Klan, they like black women, and it's like a forbidden fruit to them,
because it's like it's more so like, I don't think it's. But just
then there's the colorism even boils down to mixed kids too. Like, that's what that's where I'm going with this. Like, because then these people will have kids with them, and I've seen girls, women who are not of color, who will have mixed kids, and they'll be like, oh, I'm so glad they got these certain traits, not this trait.
We got to get away. We got to step away from that. We have got to step away from that.
I've seen this. Like, there was a group on Facebook. I think it got taken off. It was like mixed mamas or something like that, and they were like, "Oh, I don't want my daughter to have her dad's nappy ass hair." And it's like, sis, sis, you're having a baby with a black guy. Like, what else were you expecting? Like, you want the benefits of having a mixed child, but you don't really want the benefits of having a mixed child. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like, the hair texture, that's just like, it's kind of like rolling dice with it.
And again, it boils down to that narrative of like not exactly like what it is, but what it's associated with. You know,
and people think nappy hair is associated with like bad, and it's not bad.
My shit looking kind of
no. Yeah, and you know what? At the end of the day, I don't think nappy hair is bad. The only reason why I'm wearing wigs now is because one, my hair was natural. I've been natural for 5 years, and I just locked my hair. So I wear wigs to keep my locks locked. Like, I want to lock them the way I want them to lock. But in a sense, my hair was still transitioning from me using chemicals in my hair for, like, I dyed my hair and I permed my hair. And I permed my hair for majority of my life because of things that my mom was not aware of when I was a child, and people would tell her to do to my hair to manipulate my natural curls. So they would tell her, like, oh, her hair is nappy, perm that shit. And now when I went natural, I was like, wow, my hair is not nappy at all. It's very soft. It has a very nice soft curl to it. And like, even now, like, it won't lock because the curl is so soft. And it's like, y'all was sitting up here saying my hair was so nappy, y'all can't comb it. No, it was thick. And that's just the difference. That's what our people before us are. It's like generational things. Like, my grandparents, this is what they were taught. Like, press your hair, comb your hair, straight hair. You get better. You'll get off better. Like, nobody will bother you. Don't wear no afro. Don't have no nappy hair. Don't do no overly black stuff. Like, just try to blend in.
And that's what I was saying. And that was the part. Like, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit, but that's the part where I was saying is like for me personally, I don't think it's like as bad because I don't feel like it's like that constant state of fear. It's not like a means of survival. Like, I have to do this to fit in. It's just like we see like, so many more people like getting on, like just being who they are naturally and being prosperous. Whereas before it's just like, fuck getting an opportunity. Like, this is just like a means of survival. Like
Celia Cruz, she was a dark-skinned Cuban singer who was, she wasn't really getting that much recognition because, again, she was a dark-skinned Cuban singer. Like,
and I mean, you got to understand, this is even more so recently. Like, you got to even like remember, like when we were growing up, like the models, they were just like tall, skinny, pale skin.
Look at music videos. Yeah. Like, a lot of music videos would set aside the darker models or use them for different things, and then they would have the leads always being lighter toned and stuff like that. And how do you think that makes young girls who are brown skin and darker feel? They feel
but again, that's
inadequate.
What I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, with now, it's just like we kind of changing the narrative. With movies like Black Panther, and we starting to see like this coalition of like, black people uplifted. You know what I mean? Like, not in a poverty state, not thuggish, not dealing drugs. You know what I mean? We starting
or slaves.
We starting. That's why I'm saying, like,
I hate slaves movies. I'm not watching Harry Tubman.
And you know what? Right, and for me personally, and like, y'all might get mad at this, but I'm like kind of tired of seeing it. It's just like, cause like it's to the point where it's like I've seen the narrative so many times. Like, I don't need like.
You told me to fix my mic, and your mic is irritating.
Oh, my bad. I ain't even know. Well, you should have said something. But it's just like I don't need to constantly be reminded of like the narrative, and it's like to the point where we want to see like some.
Are you watching? Because you text me. If you are, can you let me know in the comments?
So it's just like I think we need to like start looking at like. Because it's more to us than just that segment of time. And it's like, it's the same thing with Holocaust movies. It's just like, it's more going on than just that segment of time. You know what I mean? It's just
I feel like that. And then when they make those movies, they try to water it down to like either like love stories, or they try to flip it to make it seem like the antagonist is not as bad as it was. No, you need to show the real life truth of these matters. Like, if you're not gonna tell the story right, don't tell the story at all. That's how I feel about it. Like, it don't matter if you're black, white, whatever.
Well, this is Hollywood. It's all entertainment at the end of the day.
But like, if you're going to tell a story, tell it right. Even if it hurts, tell it right.
That was a serious moment real quick. Feel like,
like the Harriet Tubman movie made me very mad because it was very accurate. And, they used a black antagonist character to try to like make it seem like, he was after Harriet. No. It's not even that. It's not that. They are trying to rewrite history. That's why I'm against Egyptology, because there's no such thing as Egyptology. Egypt is new. That is a new word. It was not even called Egypt back then. When the pharaohs was ruling that land, it was not called Egypt. And they going over there taking these mummies out, they rest in place, trying to showcase them to the world. And then they have these museums where they steal stuff from other places and then be like, oh, let's show y'all what we stole. Like, I can't do that. I can't go into somebody's house and then bring it here to my house and then be like, look what I took from over here. This person's house down the street. Like,
it's the magic word. Look what we discovered.
That's like Columbus Day. Oh my God. Y'all, I'm the worst on Columbus Day.
I mean, like,
Juneteenth. I got my job to recognize Juneteenth as a holiday.
I wanted to wish more. I wanted to do a debate about that, about like as far as holidays, but we'll say that for like another day.
Martin Luther King Day. Let's do it on that day. That's the day after my birthday. Shout out to me.
But yeah, like
you
made me forget what I was gonna say.
I just feel like, at the end of the day, it's not as bad as it was back in the day now. Like, I think we're more progressively thinking now.
Yeah.
But before, lighter skinned people used to get higher praise than darker people. They used to get more roles in certain things. They used to get into more things. They used to be able to pass more things. They would be the first option for a lot of things. A lot of men would see them as more desirable. There's a term that's called light skin, long hair. Like, that's the type of woman that a man would want. That was a term that they would use to describe them. It was called LH, and that was like a term online, like men would use, like when they would go on dating.
I must have been under a rock.
You have been, because your first weekend song was freaking Earned It.
That wasn't my first weekend. That was the one that made me like I was just like, all right,
I don't want to hear it.
But
I don't want to hear it.
But back to it.
But even still, like, even with look at Destiny's Child. You see how they perpetuated Beyonce in the forefront all the time. Even in the music videos, they would play Kelly ass to the back. And Kelly can really sing.
Yeah.
She can really sing. In any group like that, they would always have that one person, and then they would have, they would have like the group, like it would be like a blended group, but they would always put the fair tone person in the front. Like, even with 3LW, that's what Natari Naughton was saying. She was saying that they treated her so bad in that group that when she left, like, they had to dismantle it and become Cheetah Girls or whatever they became. And she went off and did her thing. Come here, Andy.
So, I mean, it says, and you think Kelly? Who's Jelly?
Yeah, right? No, it's not Jelly. She know what she means. Kelly does sing better than her, and that's all I was trying to say, is that it's the truth. Like, but they put her in the forefront because at that time when we were coming up, being lighter was marketable. Like, that's marketable. Everything that American media does is what is marketable at the time.
Yeah. So I mean, and that's why we in the state that we are in now, and when you talk about that, like at that point, I think it really bypasses like all these things. It's like colorism, like racism. It's just like, it really ascends to the point where like we just want to do whatever's profitable. Like right now, being racist is not profitable. So it's just like we want to stop doing this. We want to stop perpetuating this notion. So like let's look at something like all right, let's say with Colin Kaepernick, right? It's just like, it is like I'm not going to speak on behalf of Nike's political or social justice stance, but in a time where social justice and criminal justice reform is at its height, right? Kelly Mick. When social justice reform is at its peak, right? And then we have, Colin Kaepernick. Anybody who gets behind him is going to be seen as like an advocate for social justice. Like, again, I'm not speaking on behalf of Nike's, views or anything, but it's just like, it doesn't pay to be like racist at this point in time. You know what I mean? It pays to be a social activist and fight for justice. And this is why, again, partly I believe that the NFL made that deal with Jay-Z, because it was hurting them a lot more, because they seen the NFL ratings were at like a record low, and it was just like, we need to do something. So it's just like, again, at this point in time, it was just like,
Jay-Z though. But Jay-Z though, of all people on this earth.
Don't disrespect my manhole. But at the end of the day, but what I'm saying is just like, when we get to that, it kind of ascends that, and it's just like, all right, we kind of wanted, like, where can we meet in the middle? We understand that you want to get your social justice now, and we need these ratings. What can we do? You know what I mean? Because like at the end of the day, don't nobody want to lose no money. Like when it boils down to all of that, and you get into them big leagues and those contracts, and we looking at these things, it's just like, what can we do? Like, you know what I mean? And that's all you got to do. It's like you don't see black and white when you see green.
Yep.
That's what it boils down to.
You really don't. So that's, I mean, for me, all I have to say is, I don't feel like colorism plays a big part today. It's just more so like on social media.
Yeah.
It doesn't play parts in like getting jobs and things like that because everybody's just like, all right, listen, y'all ain't shit. So we just gonna pick whoever has whatever qualifications, and that's what we're gonna go with.
Yeah, and all we saying that here are Yatta Debates, and I'm gonna say this in conclusion is just love everybody, no matter what race, creed.
Yatta, we are not Martin Luther King.
You know what I mean? Like, no. I'm advocating for this. I'm just saying, like, if this is what we're gonna stand by, and this is what we're gonna stand by, just show respect to all these people.
Just respect others, but don't be loving on everybody. Don't love everybody. Don't trust everybody because people do try to infiltrate. That's how they killed Malcolm X because the FBI informant infiltrated. So don't be mindful of the people you let into your circle.
You still gotta be hip to it, but you know what I mean? Like,
respect everybody. Just do your thing and just don't let everybody know your next move. That's it.
You coming on like I think this is where the light skin narrative thing because I'm trying to be peaceful and cordial.
Light skin people are peaceful.
You're like, nah. I'm gonna tell you like this. This is me. Like, just love and appreciate and respect everybody. You know what I mean? And approach everybody with that same courteous and respectful energy. Or you can take the Shelly route and like, nah, like, you know what I mean? This is what we're gonna do. I'm advocating for Yatta Debates. You know what I mean? All day, gangsters.
Oh my God, yo, no! Oh no!
I had to go that. But yeah, on the serious note, I'm for real.
Nope. But yeah, for real. Just don't downplay nobody. If you like what you like or love what you love, you can do that. Just don't downplay black women when you do that. Because I'm going to come for you. I'm going to find your page and I'm going to be on there with all the facts.
It's a threat. Well,
and that's that. Just, love who you love and, appreciate everybody, and, show black women a little extra appreciation sometimes. Because, we are the bottom of the barrel. Like, it's hard to be black and a woman.
We need some appreciation too.
I mean, we do appreciate y'all. Y'all be getting called kings and all that on Facebook. Y'all get enough. I'm tired of y'all. Back up.
Yes, my queen.
Y'all need to start coming like Jamar. Yes, my queen. Like that's where it needs to be at that.
But all right, yeah. Thank you guys so much for viewing.
Iris,
episode
holla at me, girl.
22.
I got something for you.
Kiana, thank you so much for this.
She was on here for a little bit. I don't know where her little butt went.
But yeah, so and again, as always, we appreciate all you guys. If you could just do us a favor, if you're watching this on whatever platform, just leave a like. If you haven't already, subscribe to the
except
YouTube
on Instagram
channel.
Live.
Yeah, you can't do that. But I mean, tap something so it shows up. I don't know.
Wave to us. Let us know that y'all here.
And then subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell, and all our social media will always be in there. So if you need to holler at us. So yeah, until next time.
You guys. All right. I think my phone might die.
Yeah, we're like on 10%.